You ready?
Yeah, it's CC, CEO. Wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychological black on firm, but we ain't all black.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Constance Carter. What's happening? Come on in. I'm live today. I'm actually live twice today. I was on the Fly Nubian Queen panel today, and we were talking about a great topic, which led me to this topic here. But I want you to come on in and join me really quick because I want to talk to you about bankruptcy. This is a topic that came up today. But before you come in, I want to make sure that you subscribe. Follow me. See right there where it says I am Constance Carter right over there. I am Constance Carter. So on Facebook and Instagram, go to I am Constance Carter and make sure you follow me. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, go over to YouTube real quick and subscribe to me because I want to have as many people I can so I can produce great content to give to you so that you can learn everything that you need to learn from me. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to make sure you share this. So before I get started, I'm about to drop some real good game on you. I'm about to drop some real good game on you about bankruptcy. And I think this is a really important topic. So share this with all the people that you know and understand that this is a dialogue and it's not a monologue. What I mean by that, okay, cool. Mike Watson said there are a lot of post-bankruptcy questions I have, so that's perfect. But if you have a question, that's what I was getting ready to say. If you have a question, drop it in the comments because when I'm live talking to you, this is a dialogue and not a monologue. So I'm gonna talk back to you as you speak to me. And if you don't get a chance to watch this while I'm live, I'll go back and I'll answer questions. So if you put comments, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, I'm happy to answer your questions. Okay. So this is after bankruptcy. The reason why this came up for me today, I was on a panel earlier. I was on a panel discussion on Fly Nubian Queen, and we were talking about the Dare codes. I don't know if you guys have seen the Dare codes. These are the people who have like a bunch of multi kids. So they have 14 children. 14 kids. They're on, I think, TLC. They're on a reality show. And they're in the process of getting divorced. I think it's doing it with the Dare codes or something like that, right? I forget what it is. It's like the D something. But anyway, they have 14 kids and they are in the process of getting a divorce. And the husband only has to pay like $1,100 a month in child support for 14 kids. Now, I understand having 4 kids, how tough it must have been to have to thug that shit out or have to make the decision to leave because 14 kids, 4 kids, I thugged it out. I think, what's up, Chester? You have some second thoughts about what you're going to do or if you have the courage to leave or to stay. And I can imagine with 14 kids, it is you got to do some amazing shit in order to leave a marriage with 14 kids. But then on top of that, the man only is going to pay $1,100 in child support for 14 kids. But then it's come out that he's had 6 bankruptcies, 5 foreclosures or some shit like that, which is crazy because I didn't even know that you could file that many bankruptcies unless it's maybe a business bankruptcy. So that's crazy in and of itself. But when I was on this panel and we were talking about that, it came up. People were like, can you buy a house after bankruptcy? And so I want to talk to you about bankruptcy because I had a bounce back from bankruptcy. In 2009, I filed bankruptcy. Now I filed bankruptcy and I was making a pretty good amount of money. I was 33. I was making over 200 something thousand, almost $250,000 a year. Yeah. And so I was self-employed and the rule of thumb is pretty much, I think you can't make over 70, 80,000, but when you net it all out, when you're self-employed, you can make whatever. Right. So I fell within the guidelines of filing bankruptcy and truly I had more month than money because at the end of the day, my bills came up to between $20,000 and $25,000 a month. Sometimes we didn't even have enough to pay our utilities and I'm making over $200,000 a month. Sometimes there was one time I couldn't even pay for my kids to have a day pass at the fair. We had more month than money. During that time, I had to give up my Mercedes that got repossessed. During that time, I short sold some properties. It was after I foreclosed on some properties, and I was just overextended. Now, in my book, The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code, I talk about, bankruptcy being the most painful thing that I had ever done year to date. It was like the worst thing in the world. I was talking about how bad it was, and it was y'all, that shit was the best thing ever. Can I tell you why? Because my phone was ringing nonstop, off the hook, with bill collectors calling me. I was getting things in the mail. I didn't want to open the mail. I didn't want to answer the phone. And the moment I filed bankruptcy, they ceased immediately. Once you file bankruptcy, the bill collectors can no longer call you. They can no longer send you anything in the mail. They must legally stop. They can no longer harass you. And that the phone stopped ringing like that. Now, I was a broker at the time. I didn't own my own real estate company at the time. I filed bankruptcy in 2009 and 2010. I went on to open up Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, which ended up becoming the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. So many people think that once you file bankruptcy, your life is over. Many people think that they can't bounce back or recover from bankruptcy. I remember hearing my parents talk about when they filed bankruptcy, like they couldn't do all this stuff, and they filed bankruptcy in the 80s. It was like the 90s. There is this big myth that after bankruptcy, your life is ruined. Now, mind you, the type of business I had in real estate and financial services, because I was also doing loans, they ask you those things. Have you ever filed bankruptcy? And you have to say yes. And if you have, they want to know why, because you're in the financial services space. There are certain government clearances you can't get if you file bankruptcy. So you have to, know what you can do and what you can't do when you're filing bankruptcy. So for me, the rule of thumb, the measure for me, when I talk to people about filing bankruptcy, is if it takes over 2 years to pay off your debt, get rid of that shit. It takes over 2 years to pay off your debt. And the reason why I say that is because if it takes over 2 years, then after 2 years, you can purchase a home again. After 2 years, you can pretty much reestablish yourself. So if it takes you over 2 years, file a bankruptcy, get it off your credit. It's going to be on your credit for 10 years, but you can start establishing your credit right away, and you can be in position. If it takes over that, what happens is it'll take you all the time to pay this off. In the meantime, you're not able to purchase a home, and you're not able to start building wealth. So if you got $5,000, $10,000, you could maybe you could pay that off, and within a couple of years. Don't ruin your credit for 10 years over $5,000, $10,000. I had 2009, I filed bankruptcy. In 2008, I had my last child. Now, let me tell you what's significant about this. I was self-employed, so I had insurance. I also had an assistant. And I remember a couple of months before I had the baby, I had to decide on whether I was going to pay my insurance or I was going to pay my assistant that month. I paid my assistant. I did not have insurance. I think it cost me $25,000, $30,000 to have that baby. That ended up in my credit. Plus I got audited in 2004. No, I got audited in like 2008, 2007, 2008 for my 2004 and 2005 taxes. And I had the IRS $50,000. I took out a home equity line of credit, paid that $50,000 off for the bankruptcy. For the taxes, ended up putting that on the bankruptcy. So I had hella debt. Like I had close to $100,000 in debt. So, plus I had these properties that were upside down. I was overextended. I had one that I was in, the house that we were in. We ended up staying in that for a couple of years and then had to pay no mortgage because of the bankruptcy. So, and even when I ended up short selling that home, I probably could have stayed in it probably another 2-3 years. But we had moved on to another house. So, there were so many benefits at the time. And the reason why I didn't feel bad when I went into bankruptcy court, because in my book, The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code, I was talking about how it was just the worst thing. If real talk though, when I went into that bankruptcy court, I was nervous, and it was a big old burden on my shoulders. And I went in by myself, the sky was gloomy. The clouds were gray. It was, and I remember going in there and when I went to bankruptcy court, there's a, I don't know, I forget what they're called. I don't know if they're a commissioner or whatever, but I went to bankruptcy court, and like at the time it's 2009. So everybody's filing bankruptcy. The city of Stockton just filed bankruptcy. The city of San Bernardino, like all, Donald Trump had filed bankruptcy all these times. So people were going in and out. They're in and out 30 seconds. Like they was in and out. Right. So if you're regular and they look at your stub, boom, you in and out. When I went up to speak with a judge and my attorney was there, I had so much money coming in because I was making like, $15,000-$20,000 a month. And I had so much money coming in. They're looking at my bank statements and they were like, so they started questioning me. So I'm on the stand for like 15 minutes answering questions about transactions. And I was able to answer them articulately under pressure. And when I got down, then they were like, okay, good. You're approved or whatever. And my bankruptcy attorney was like, I was so scared for you because it was a lot. And so when I walked out that mug, the sky had opened up, the sun was out, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. And the moment, like I said, the bill collector stopped calling, they stopped sending letters. I had to give up my Mercedes, but that was okay. Because here's the thing about bankruptcy. The moment you file bankruptcy and it's discharged, you start getting more offers to rebuild your credit immediately. You'll get more offers to rebuild your credit after bankruptcy than you will if your credit is just effed up. Okay. So there are different types of bankruptcy and many people get them messed up. There's your chapter 7, there's chapter 13. And if you're a business owner, there's chapter 11. Let me tell you the difference. And chapter 7 and 13 are for regular people. This is why I say, if you can, always do a chapter 7. Okay. A chapter 7 means the debt is gone. You ain't never got to deal with it again. They can't never come back after you again. If some things were missed while you was putting all your debt in, they got to throw that up in there too. You ain't never got to worry about that debt again. A chapter 13 is when you have to repay the debt. Okay. That could take 4, 5, 6 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5, depending on what your payment plan looks like. Here's the thing about chapter, and I should have pulled up the statistics. Let me see. Let me try to do that real quick. Let me see. Hold on. Let me ask Google. And what I'm saying is, what happens is, let's see. Okay, they don't have any statistics. What I'm saying is, what my attorney told me is that most people who come to him, I'll say that. My attorney said most people who come to him that file chapter 13, they end up defaulting on that and filing a chapter 7. A chapter 13 is going to be more expensive. And most people, from what he said, is they don't finish the chapter 13. It's a reestablishment, right? So now they've taken on this debt, they're repaying. And I understand that you want to be a good steward over your money. You want to pay back that debt that you've borrowed. And people are like that. People are like, the Lord said, pay Caesar what is his. But the Lord also said, obey the laws of the land. And they put these laws in place for our benefit. So you file chapter 13, you're repaying the debt. Then, it takes you a longer time to reestablish. If you file chapter 7, it's gone. And now you can move on with your life. So that's what I would do. I would definitely file a chapter 7. And here are the things that you can get rid of. Well, okay. So yeah, the things that you can get rid of in a chapter 7, your credit card debt, medical bills. Now, keep in mind, medical bills no longer are supposed to appear on your credit report according to new credit reporting rules until after 6 months. And once you pay them off, they have to remove them, but you can put them in a bankruptcy. Okay. So personal loans that you might have, your car loans, some of your business debts, leases can be put in your bankruptcy. Some judgments and lawsuits can be put in your bankruptcy. If you have like a repossession or deficiencies, your leases, sometimes depending on the circumstances, some of your taxes, in some cases, very little cases, some taxes can be put in your bankruptcy. But here's the rule of thumb. There are non-dischargeable debts. So if you have taxes that you owe. Uncle Sam is not letting you get rid of them damn taxes. So that's why people end up doing the Chapter 13. They end up doing the Chapter 13 if they have maybe too much equity in their property. And if they file Chapter 7, they end up losing the equity out of their property. They, the judge may make them sell the property to pay off the debt. The great thing about me, when I filed bankruptcy in 2009, I had no equity. Nobody had equity. We were all upside down in our homes. So that was an easy thing to do. You can actually not put child support or alimony in the bankruptcy. You got to pay that mug back. Okay. If there are any court order fines and penalties, you can't put it in the bankruptcy. Like I said, there may be some tax debt that you could put in there, but for the most part, you cannot put any tax debt in a bankruptcy. Okay. If you have secure debt, like your mortgage, you want to keep them as collateral. So, but here's the thing. I put my cars, and I had one car, and I'm so glad he did it. I told my attorney, don't put my minivan. That mug was upside down. I owed $35,000 on it. It was only worth like 10. I said, do not put my minivan in the bankruptcy. And he did anyway, old bastard. But I'm so glad he did, because it wasn't worth nothing. However, even though he put it in there, if I continued to make the payment, they weren't going to take it from me. So the mortgage was placed in the bankruptcy, but I continued to make the payment, and they didn't, they wouldn't if you continue to make the payment, they won't foreclose on it. They just cannot continue to report any late payments. So like with the car, if you put that in the bankruptcy and you continue to make the payments, and then you stop, like say you're late 1 month, they can't report that to the credit bureaus. They absolutely can't report that to the credit bureau. So if you're late on a car payment and it's in bankruptcy, and maybe you're late this month, you're not late that month, they can't report it late. So any debt that you had prior to the bankruptcy and you end up keeping it, they cannot report it. So that's a good thing. You also, like, say you was like, okay, I already know I'm about to file bankruptcy and I'm about to go just run up these credit cards. You cannot report recent debt, like just close to the time of the bankruptcy. So the judge is going to look at your credit history, and they're going to say, oh, she just went and got a credit card 3 months ago, ran it up, now she want to put it in bankruptcy. No, they're not going to do that. Okay. So there's, those are some things like fraudulent debt, that you acquired in fraud. You're not going to be able to put in the bankruptcy. So there are things that you can put in Chapter 7 bankruptcies and things that you cannot. Why would you choose a Chapter 13 over Chapter 7? As I mentioned, you would choose a Chapter 13 if you had undischargeable debt, like things that you needed to pay every month, right? So you would put say again, your student loans. You might want to, if you've gotten behind on that and you want to kind of reestablish payment. Here's the thing too. Debt consolidation companies. Many people come to me asking, should I go to a debt consolidation company in order to have them redo my debts? Well, let me just tell you something. Lenders, when you go to a consolidation company, lenders are going to look at your credit the same as if you filed a Chapter 13, because they're doing the same thing. They're saying basically you can't manage your own debt, so you've come to a debt consolidation company, and now you have these people who are taking over your debt. So the debt consolidation company is now taking over your debt, and they've arranged for you to pay every month, just like if you were doing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So it doesn't look good. Another thing with these debt consolidation companies, I forgot what they're called. I forgot some of the names of the debt consolidation companies. You may know them, but sometimes they will miss your payments. I've seen that so many times when people will come to me and they're like, no, I went ahead and consolidated my debt. I went through consumer consulting. I forgot the name. I don't even know if they're still around, but it's companies like that. They consolidate your payments and then they'll make the payment for you. More times than not, they'll end up making some of your payments late, or they'll make them late in order to get your debtors to negotiate a lower amount. And then that F's off your credit as well. So now you just enclose all your credit cards, which your credit cards are 30% of your credit picture. So now you no longer have your credit cards. And so now those are closed. Those are late. Now you F'd off your credit. And now you have a third party that you're paying that's taking care of your debt, which makes you look irresponsible. So consumer finance company, I think is that what they would call it? Y'all know, come on, tell me, put in the comments. So That's the thing about filing bankruptcy. So again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking about, life after bankruptcy, how to bounce back after bankruptcy. And I just kind of wanted to explain the bankruptcy process, why you should file bankruptcy. Again, for me, my rule of thumb is if I can't pay it back within 2 years, going to get rid of it, because at least in 2 years, consumer credit. Thank you, PG Jackson. Consumer Credit Counseling Services. That's who I'm talking about. Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Consumer Credit Counseling Services. Yeah. So if you can't pay it back within 2 years, go on and file Chapter 7. You file Chapter 7, you're done. And you ain't never got to look back. The biggest thing about filing bankruptcy, and Mike, you said there are a lot of post-bankruptcy questions you have. So let me know your questions. So you can buy a house after bankruptcy. The biggest thing, the first thing you need to do is you need to start reestablishing your credit. You can do that with credit cards. Remember, I said credit cards are 30% of your whole credit pie. Let me see if I have the credit pie up here. Damn, I don't have the credit pie, but that would have been cool if I had the credit pie up in here. But your credit cards are 30% of the credit pie. So with that being said, 35% of your credit, let me see if I have the credit pie in here. Nope. 35% of your credit is your payment history. Well, your payment's already effed off because of your bankruptcy, but 30% of your credit being your credit card balances and how you pay your credit cards. That's the first thing I would do, is go and run. Don't walk to get a credit card. Now, you ain't gonna be able to get, you're probably not gonna be able to get an American Express or any of these great credit cards. You're probably gonna have to get a secured credit card. Capital One has some secured credit card programs. That's where I started out. It was actually Orchard Bank at the time, and Capital One had bought out Orchard Bank. Also, there's a company called Applied Bank. That was my first credit card, and I hated that card, and I still have it to this day because it gives me the length. You want to keep your credit cards, even if they are secure credit cards, even if they're getting on your goddamn nerves, even if they have high interest rates, you want to keep them for the longest period of time, because what's going to happen is it's going to help your credit in the long run, because now you have the age. So secured credit card will be Capital One. It will be Orchard Bank, Applied, First Premier. Okay. So look for a, my lash is not looking good. So look for a secure credit card. Okay. So start building onto a secure credit card, become an authorized user on your mama's credit card, or somebody who has good credit, become an authorized user. That's going to be beneficial to you as well. The other thing, in terms of your credit is your rent. If you're paying rent, you may want to have a rental company. There's a third party. There's actually a ton of them now. It used to be Rental Karma, and there's some more out there, but there are there are companies that will report your rent. All you have to do is you got to sign up your rent with the rental company. So they'll report that to your the credit bureaus. Get a car, or if you have the same car and maybe you were never late, you could actually give your car company permission to start reporting your payments to the credit bureaus. Now, if you've been late, or if you don't know if it's a little shaky, you may want to just keep that off. But just start building your credit. You can buy a house with an FHA loan within 2 years. You can buy a house with a conventional loan within 4 years. So and then some loans you can get right away, depending on how much you have down. You can get loans day after bankruptcy. Like, you can purchase a home day after bankruptcy if you have 25% to put down. But for most of us, regular people, or most consumers, we don't have that kind of money. So Lisa said, the best financial decision I've ever made, purchase my next house in three and a half. Oh, you mean filing bankruptcy? I'm trying to told y'all, bankruptcy is like the best thing ever, because I don't want to skunk nobody on their bills. However, like, if you've become overextended, and people have the stigma of filing bankruptcy and they think it's the worst thing in the world. Yeah, it does stay on your credit for 10 years. Yeah. And you can, but you can get over it. If you're in a financial hardship, this is something that you need to do. But let's think about this. there is an emotional and a psychological component to filing bankruptcy because there's shame associated with it. But I need you to change your mindset around that. Bankruptcy is a business decision. Some businesses go up and down. People are so caught up in holding on to their pride that they gon' die on a sword just to not have that stigma of bankruptcy. And I want you to let that go. That's how I had to look at it. That's why I said when I walked up in there, it was the worst decision. Shit. I went up in there, it was the best decision ever because it was a business decision and it got me off from under all the mounting debt that I had. I told you, if you just tuned in, when I filed bankruptcy, I had just had a baby in 2008. I had that I think $25,000-$30,000 that I had to pay out of pocket for that medical expense, right? I also got my tubes tied. Thank God for that. And then I had some tax lien. So I had got audited in 2004, 2005. So I had $50-something thousand in taxes. I didn't file in bankruptcy, but I took out a home equity line of credit, paid that off, put that mug into bankruptcy. Okay. People often talk about student loans. All right. So don't listen to me. And I'm not telling you this. However, if you have a government loan, you cannot file bankruptcy on it. But if that loan becomes a personal loan and is no longer a government loan, you can file bankruptcy on it, right? So this is not what I'm telling you to do, but I'm just telling you how some people do it. So what they'll do is they'll take that government loan and they'll put it in a personal loan and they'll file bankruptcy on it. I ain't telling you to do that, but that's a way that some people get off from under their student loan debt. Okay. One of the things that you got to also think of, and hold on, I'm seeing people in and out, and I know you guys are on different platforms. I want to make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you're watching me from Facebook, go run over to my YouTube channel at CC the CEO and subscribe, and make sure you put on your notifications so you can know every time I go live. And if you on YouTube, I want you to go over to Facebook and follow me at I am Constance Carter. And I want you to go over to Instagram and follow me at I am Constance Carter. And y'all, by the way, I talk about all of this stuff in the Grow Your Money Club. And because I love you guys, everything that I went through, my hardships are the blueprint to help other people. So I filed bankruptcy. Yeah. I talk about how to bounce back after bankruptcy in there. And I go through in depth. I've written books. Yes. I show you how to write books inside the Grow Your Money Club. I've invested in real estate. And guess what? I show you how to invest in real estate in the Grow Your Money Club. I invest in stock. And guess what else? I show you how to invest in stock. Everything that I've done and I do that's contributed to the little bit of success I have, I use my things that I've gone through as a learning experience for you. That's all I ever want, is for the things that I've gone through to be a help to somebody else. Okay. But before you file bankruptcy, think about the legal implications. Am I going to have some kind of government clearance that this is going to affect? Is this going to affect my job in some ways? Is it going to affect my livelihood? If it's not, maybe you should consider it. But that's something that you certainly should consider. And I would just, I will look at there are like bankruptcy support groups out there for those of you who feel so horrible about filing bankruptcy. There are support groups. So, but the biggest thing is to reset. Okay, now that you no longer have all that mounting debt. Now you got extra money. What you gonna do with that extra money that you didn't save because you ain't paying all that money out in debt? Take that money and put it into a vehicle that's going to generate maybe compound interest. You can build your own bank. Oh my God. In the Grow Your Money Club, I tell you how to open your own bank. Actually, Brandy Bridget, who is one of the financial experts, she shows you how to build your own bank. Did you guys know I've taken my money out the bank and I have my own bank that's generating compounded interest? Do y'all know what compound interest is? Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who don't know about it, pay it. If you have credit cards, you paying compound interest on them credit cards. So, for example, if you have $1,000 credit card, you're paying the bare minimum $25 a month. It's going to take you 5 years and you're going to pay 3 times the amount on that. That's compound interest. But if you pay a little bit more, you're going to take down the interest. So those who don't know about it, they pay it because they pay it in their credit card debt and different things. You paying that to the IRS if you owe in taxes. But those who know about compound interest, they benefit from it. So if you look at Ray Kroc from McDonald's, if you look at the Rockefellers, this is how they built their wealth. So they took their money and they put it in vehicles that generated compounded interest. That's what I do. You don't need a whole lot of money. Take your little money out the bank. If you have a little bit of a savings in the bank, put it in another vehicle that's going to yield compound interest. Go to the Grow Your Money Club. I talk about all of that. Okay. So now you have this money from the bankruptcy that you've saved. Start putting it away. Acorns. Y'all know I talk about acorns all the time. I took my acorns money in 1 year. I saved $30,000 with acorns. Acorns takes your money, takes your change, and invests it in stock for you. I took my acorns money. I took my weed money because I own a dispensary, and then I bought a commercial building. So you take your savings and then you use that to invest it in other things. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, I talk about it in the Grow Your Money Club as well. But all of these things, when I'm telling you about these things, I'm not the smartest tool in the shit. I filed bankruptcy. I ain't the brightest person. I just know how to use leverage. I had to shift my mindset of being ashamed, this being something that I'm ashamed of, and I parlayed it. If you look at that that was the president a few years ago, how many times that dude filed bankruptcy? And all these people are hailing him as a smart businessman. And the fact that this man said he don't pay no taxes, he's not saying, and what he said is, I'm smart, because he doesn't have to contribute to the economy. So once you're a business owner and you have like a corporation, which I have corporations, right? I actually tell you how to set up your corporation in the Grow Your Money Club, but you have tax. I think they said you automatically have 52 tax shelters by having a corporation, but your corporation has to be making money. You could also fund your corporation. You could do certain things to build a hedge of protection around yourself so that you can invest in your business and get an ROI, but that's a whole different thing. And I talk about that as well. But these are things that you want to do as individuals. And again, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. I just happen to go through these things, and I've used these things as leverage to build other things. And that's what I really want you to understand and know, is that bankruptcy, it might be for you if you have an insurmountable amount of debt. Lisa said it was the best financial decision that she ever made, and she bought her house 3.5 years afterwards. It only takes 2. She got a secure credit card from Bank of America, and then she's been, how that secure credit card probably about 25, 30 years, but I bet her credit is dope now because she's had that lengthy secured credit. So the biggest thing is start building your credit after bankruptcy. You can bounce back. Get that mind right. Get off the fence. There are bankruptcy attorneys out there. I can't tell you anything about, the process of filing bankruptcy because I'm not an attorney, but there are bankruptcy attorneys out there, and some will try to convince you to file Chapter 13 because you know why? They know that you're going to come back and file Chapter 7. So they're going to get you twice. They're going to get you on that Chapter 13, which is going to cost you thousands of dollars. And the Chapter 7 is going to be a lot less, maybe even half of that. So again, make sure you follow me. Make sure you like this page. Make sure you share this, because I know it's a lot of your friends and family that need to file bankruptcy. But the biggest thing is the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to get in a better position. I don't want you to be crippled by debt. I don't want you to be imprisoned by debt. I want you to be able to overcome that. Utilize what the United States has in place for you to help you to be able to grow from that and build wealth. Because as long as you got breath in your body, people be thinking, oh, it's too late for me. I'm 50 years old or whatever. It is not too late. It is just the beginning. You got 50 more good years on you, but you can use this. And you can, even if your life is halfway over, 3/4 of the way over, set something up for your kids and set something up for your children's children. Okay. So get that bankruptcy. What's up, Jermaine? Do your bankruptcy, whatever you need to do. And again, Mike said in the beginning that he had a lot of post bankruptcy questions, but he's not asking me. And I know there's people that are watching on, I'm on 8 platforms right now. I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, on 8 different platforms: Fly Nubian Queen, Black Like Moi, Conversation Starters, Constance Carter. So I'm on all, and then I'm on LinkedIn as well. So I'm on all these different platforms. And if you guys have anything that you want, any questions that you want, again, I'll be even answering questions afterwards. So if you're watching this at a later time, I'll go on there and I'll answer questions. Don't DM me, because I want to make sure that other people are able to learn from you. Okay. So that's all I had to say. Bankruptcy is not a bad thing. And Chapter 7, Chapter 13, 2 very different things. If you are a business owner, I didn't touch on Chapter 11, but if you're a business owner and you need to reestablish your business, or if you need to file bankruptcy in your business, the beautiful thing about a Chapter 11 is it doesn't affect you personally. So if you have to file if you have a business and say you have a house, a personal house, you file Chapter 11 on your business, it's not going to affect you personally. You file a Chapter 7 on your personal, it's not going to affect your business, because your business is a totally different entity from you. So that's the beautiful thing of, having an entity set up if you do. And if you're a contractor, if you're a government contractor, make sure that you have some type of LLC set up, Jermaine, so that you don't be, so that you're not you can get the government protections and you can get the write-offs and you can have less liability. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, make sure you share this out with your friends. I love you for real in real life. Peace out.